The easiest way to build a $50,000 agency is to get 10 people to conference. I take the path of least resistance. Thank you very much. And I will let them do the hard work. Learn from Marshall Whalen, whose bonus is $150,000 a month. Sarah Reineke, directed Jacob Pogue and the Marshall Whalen hierarchy, and so grateful to be so, and honored to be here with you guys for just a short time today. Conference is my favorite topic right now, probably. And I have been trained by Jacob Pogue and Marshall Whalen. So I don't know if you're familiar with Marshall. You see his numbers up on the board. And, I keep this thing very simple, guys. Like, I want to live Jacob Pogue's life. I want to live Marshall Whalen's life. Pretty simple, right? So I am very blessed to have two mentors that have done this very well, and they have reaped the rewards of their hard work. Okay, I can follow that. I keep that very simple. I had a little sticky note that, which I'm just covered with sticky notes. If you think you have to be super organized and techie to win here, I am not. So that should make you feel better. 19 sticky notes. One of which said, "Hey, Sarah, do what successful people do." Sarah, that I would look at every morning. Simple as that is, it reminded me to stick with the system and do what successful people do. And the two closest to me were Jacob and Marshall, right? And so Marshall is man a few words, but whenever he says them, they make total sense. And it may click in like 6 months later. You're like, oh, that's why he said that to me. But one thing that he says is, hey, keep it simple. The best promoter wins. Best promoter wins. Okay, what do you mean by that? He's like, man, I'm not that talented. I'm not that good at a whole lot of things. He downplays himself in a big way. He's Symmetry's best kept secret. Here's what he knows. He knows that he can't fill all the voids. He can't get the message across, and as well as Jim can talk about annuities. So I'm doing this right now, but I'm about to snag him to come over and talk about FIF. So just hold on tight, right? So I'm not as great at that, but I know someone who is, right? I'm not the best producer, but I've got Gabby Roethlisberger coming on my huddle call here in just a few minutes because she's way better at that than me, right? So I am acutely aware of my strengths and my weaknesses, and I surround myself with people who are way better than me at every single category. Okay, so at conference is a place where they're going to get that from everybody else, not just you, which is going to grow their belief. And a funny story to go with this, Kevin Purdy told this in Virginia, and I love it. Kevin Purdy, who's also done fairly well here, right? And he said, man, he goes, I remember early on in my career, I did this big boot camp, and I invited Marshall to come down, and we had all these speakers and did all this work, and Marshall just sitting in the front row, just nodding his head and being like, good job, Kev. If you've been around him enough, you can hear him saying those words, good job, Kev. And Kevin said, man, thank you, Marshall. He said, did a good job today, Kevin. He's like, thank you. He said, do you have some people here? And Marshall said, do you have some people here, Kev? He's like, yeah, I think I've got 10 or 12 in the room. He's like, hey, that's great, Kev. And Kevin, it dawns on him. He's like, Marshall, you have some people in the room? Yeah, I got 40 people, I think, back there, something like that. Kevin's like, got it. So I just did all this today and trained all your people. It's like, man, you're just so great, Kev. I appreciate it. And he's like, all right. So this has been Marshall's best trick since he got here, which is smart, because Kevin's great at a ton of things that Marshall's not, right? Marshall's got his skill set. So the reason that I get to conference and the reason that I get as many people to conference is, one, Marshall said so, and I want Marshall's life. Jacob said so, and I want Jacob's life. Keep it simple, right? Third, I know very well that I can't do the same justice that everybody that's going to be on stage, JPV or Marlon, whoever it might be, I can't do it the same. I'm not that good. None of you guys are that good either. I promise you. Like, you need that help. Second, it's good for your agent, right? You're doing it for them, not from them. So whenever, and I talk about this in just recruiting in general, it's if you walk to your next door neighbor and you ask to borrow a cup of sugar versus you walk to your next door neighbor and you're like, I baked an extra pie. I thought I'd just bring this over here today. One is from them, one is for them. Do you understand the different posture of going over and asking something from them versus giving them something? So if you have the posture in recruiting and the posture in getting people to conferences for them is a different posture. and you're going to enjoy it a whole lot more if you have the posture of for them versus from them. Would you all agree it is better for your new agents and your team to be there? Right? So do you also know a single 130 that doesn't go to conference or didn't go to conference? Do you know a single 130 that a conference story isn't part of their story? We had Jordan Hunt on our huddle on Tuesday, who I love dearly and love his heart and the way he leads. And he met Brian Delaney and he went to conference a week later and he brought 2 people with him, Devin and Gino. Both of those dudes doing real well with Jordan, still with him, both of them killing it. Okay. So they hadn't even signed up for anything and they shared a room. They were broke. They had no money. Delaney sent them some old leads. They spent their evenings dialing old leads instead of going out and spending money. Jordan does pretty well here, right? Is there a single story of a 130 that doesn't include a conference story? There isn't. So going back to my initial post-it note, hey, do what successful people do. Also, do not spend time dragging people there. It's not your job to convince them. If you're dragging them there, they're not going to be a part of it. They don't get it. Spend more time recruiting other people, because the posture right now, you have until August. So if you have the thought of like, well, guess that's it, I'm just going to conference. It's May. It is May. We have like 20 people in our base shop registered right now. We'll have 100%. No doubt. Everybody I hire is going to conference. Everybody I hire is going to conference. And we get them a ticket immediately. That's the posture. In fact, I have more of my new people registered for conference than I have some stragglers that have been around a bit that still haven't got their ticket. Noted. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, what else do you need to know? You can't afford not to go, right? But I also will just keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. But you're way better off filling your owner's pack or getting people there that you're hiring right now and go on a blitz and get yourself 20 people there. The next point, I don't even know how many points I've said, but every 10 people you get there is a $50,000 agency. Raise your hand if you want a $50,000 agency or a $100,000 agency. Honestly, this is the fastest and easiest way to do it. You want to do it the easy way, the hard way. Well, hard or less hard. Both are hard. The easiest way to build a $50,000 agency is to get 10 people to conference. I take the path of least resistance. Thank you very much. And I will let them do the hard work. Learn from Marshall Whalen, whose bonus is $150,000 a month. Which house, which pool, which raft, right? So I don't know how many points that was, but there's a bunch of reasons why.
Oh, there's a ton. I mean, that's absolutely the right way to talk about it, right? So be realistic with it. So for the people that say, I don't have money, or I just can't do it. What does that look like?
Well, if your 4 tires fell off your car today, you'd find $700 to get new tires on your car. I mean, you would, right? So, I mean, if your dog fell sick today and you had to come with $300 to get him to the vet, you'd probably find a way, right? So it's a matter of how important. So, I mean, I'm not going to spend time on that argument because this is your business. I mean, it's your business. Like, I don't know if somebody told you this was a job versus growing your own business. It's 2 very different things. I don't think you can afford not to go. The other big reason is whenever you're working from home, and I think this is even more important to talk about now more than ever because everybody's remote. You're all in your offices, your homes, your bedrooms, your basements, your kitchens, whatever. And it's very easy. It's like solitary confinement, right? I've heard Casey say this. If you commit a small crime, they take your money. You commit a big crime, they take your time. And if you commit a crime there, they take your people. And what happens when they take your people? You lose your mind. Because when you're by yourself in your own basement, you can start being like, these leads don't work. It was all a big trick. They never out, you can start making yourself crazy. That mentor's really not out. He's out for his own good. He doesn't really want, you can make yourself nuts. And that's natural when you're by yourself, because if you're only listening to the voice inside your head, you'll sabotage yourself, right? So another huge reason to go is when you go there and you see Symmetry and Quility owning blocks. owning hotels, owning that conference center, all the signage and all the people and all really great people that do this. You're surrounded by proof that you work for a really awesome company. I just sent Brandon Ellison a message this morning and I said, I just want you to know how grateful I am for you and Casey and Brian. This is hard, but it was double hard to do what you did. Guys, what we do is hard, what they've done. Think about it. They're still friends. They still like each other. They're still growing this company into a $10 billion company. They haven't taken a paycheck in 3 years to grow this thing for us. Like, I am so grateful, but you can't understand the magnitude of what we're a part of unless you see it with your own eyes. I mean, my parents just went to Bahamas with my 93-year-old Nana. If you follow me on Facebook, you saw it and it was so cute. My 93-year-old Nana just went to Bahamas and they came over last night for steak and they shared with us all the things. Is it the same experience as being there? No, you got to go. So you can't afford not to go. And plus go sell one policy, cover your expenses. Go sell an SBLI tomorrow, covers your expenses. If you have to share a room with 4 people, don't care. You got to drive there, don't care. Don't care. I don't feel sorry for you. You think about like Danny Young's call this morning, talking about Sarah Pappas and Ashley Tarr. Sarah Pappas, she lives in Nashville and she went to Minnesota and wrote 40,000 a weekend. Driving there, a female by herself back in the day, Ashley Tarr, what she did back in the day, going house to house to house. And Marshall Whalen talking about getting a one-way ticket to fly to a different market and hoping he sold enough or something issued before he had to fly home and get another one-way ticket. That's hard, right? You guys got to get on the phones and go sell an SBLI and cover your conference ticket. Like if that's a mountain that's too steep for you right now, you're in trouble. You got to turn that around and look at as I just got to get this done this week and get it done and move on with my life and go build something big. You got plenty of time. You got 90 days.
There we go. 90 days.
Yeah.
Actually, it's less than 90, right? It's like 83 or something like that.
I mean, details.
I don't know. 80, 83, 82 days, right, Kishan?
Lot.
Yeah. He's got a countdown on an email. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So 2 seconds.
Okay.
And I'll let you go, if that's okay.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Why do you love symmetry?
Oh, I mean, gosh. Actually, let me just pull this up because this is what I talked about. I mean, I think I say all the time, this is our job. I mean, we're at Spring Fling and the meeting was in a brewery with live music and amazing people. Like, this is our job. I get to help people be successful for a living. I saw a new agent on Friday put in an SBLI policy for $174 a month. She was a school teacher and just made her entire month's salary almost on one policy she put in Friday. Like, this is our job. This is what we get to do for a freaking living. Where else can you go? Where else can you go? I mean, get so freaking grateful. And instead of saying it's hard, say it's unfamiliar. If you've never played golf and you go play golf tomorrow, you're going to be like, golf is hard. You're not going to say golf is broken. You're going to be like, golf is hard. No, golf is unfamiliar. If you keep golfing for a whole year or 2 years, it's going to be more familiar and more fun and less hard, right? That's all it is. It's unfamiliar, but we're not going porch to porch to porch. We're not knocking on doors. A teacher's job right now is freaking hard. A nurse's job right now is really hard. There's a lot of really hard jobs out there right now. This one might be unfamiliar for you, but it's freaking awesome what we get to do. And I actually wrote down that we have mentorship, and most people in the world don't have mentorship. My sister just got let go of her job. She got pushed out as a principal for 10 years. She thought she had job security. She sure didn't when she got crossways with a superintendent. And I have a picture of her walking out of that building that she built after a tornado, like loved that place, ate, breathed that place, right? So I realized her going through that, she doesn't have mentors, she has a boss. We have mentorship. Don't ever forget how important that is. 2, we have culture, also missing in the real world. We have culture. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Because if they like it here and they like you and they respect you and they're having a hard week, they're going to stick around. If they don't like you and they don't like this place and they're not making money, they out, right? We have culture. Protect it, add to it, give back to it, add positivity to it. We have culture. Third, we have hope and excitement. Do you realize this is going to be a $10 billion company? Right now, it's a $250 million company. There's a big difference. I don't know details, a lot between 250 and 10 billion. And that's called market share. Where else can you go where you get to leverage a market share growing from 250 mil to 10 bill? Do you believe that I will take a large portion of that market share? Nod your heads if you believe I'm taking some. 100%, as much as I can get my hands on, because I have an opportunity to do so sitting right in front of me. Where else can you go to do that? It's awesome. We have time and financial freedom. As a teacher, I had some time freedom, but I couldn't afford Sonic until payday, right? So doctors and lawyers have financial freedom, but no time freedom. Who's your dad again? Well, he's coming home from work maybe next week, right? It's different. We have the opportunity to have both. We also do really important work. I don't know about you, but I can't do work that's not important. If I'm not making impacts and making a difference in the world, people that go into an office building and clock in and clock out and do work that's not important for 30 years straight, I have a lot of respect for, honestly. I could not do that. I couldn't. I have to do important work, and we do really important work here, generationally impactful. We have ownership. Where else can you go? Where you have ownership opportunity, where your last name is on it. Spill Dinner's business is growing. Matt Smith's business is growing. Where else can you go? If I passed away tomorrow, my income would go up. My agency would make sure the Reineke family was taken care of. Where else can you go to have ownership with your last name? Uncapped income. Where else can you go? That's why I don't feel sorry for you saying I can't afford to go. Hush it up. Go sell a policy. We have uncapped income. You can make as much as you want to make here. It depends on how much effort you want to put into it. And that's just a fact, right? So I don't have sympathy for that because the ball's in your hands. Ball's in your hands. You can go do that. Uncapped income. Where else can you go? We are paid by carriers that are owned by billionaires in a $1 trillion industry that's never running out of money. Other companies you work for, it's all coming out of the pool, right? One pool. We get paid by carriers that are billionaires. Americo's in Kansas City near me, 4 skyscraper towers, downtown Kansas City. I was like, okay, Americo, right? We cannot run out of money in this industry. And then last but not least is impact. You know, when I look at, I have a team leader, Debbie Harlan. She's finishing up her team lead, probably month 1 key leader right now. She's like, I struggle in school, Sarah. I mean, she's a nana. She's a grandma. So all she ever did was raise kids and have a daycare. All I'm good at is raising babies and hugging babies and rocking babies, working at the church. I'm like, Debbie, you can pass your test in 10 days. She's like, what? And she did. She passed the test in 10 days and she's growing a business. Her husband is coming aboard with her right now. She's month 1 key leader, month 2 team leader right now. You think she has a different kind of self-worth about herself right now? Is that impact? 100%. Jamie Cuppernell on my team, who was majoring in Candy Crush and Desperate Housewives and sitting on the couch, loving her life. And she's like, but I have no impact. And she has come here. She does not need the money. Her husband makes a great living as a bridge engineer, which I think is fascinating that someone who doesn't need the money can come here and be successful. That's a different kind of grit, right? And she earned a trip. We hosted a trip to Cancun. She earned it. She took her husband. Think that's impactful in her life? I mean, I could go on all day long. The impacts that we get to make on other people, where else can you go? There's a few reasons why.
Preach that. Absolutely.
All day.
That is definitely the way to go, right?
And later, Danny Young. Love it.
100%.
Yeah. It's our job.
Job. So awesome. So I know you have to run, but I really appreciate you jumping on and for about 15, 20 minutes and giving our team a little bit of inspiration on a Monday morning, always needed. And if you guys don't know this song either, it's called Good Day by Jake Scott. Make sure you listen to it.
Sent it to you this morning. It's going to be a good day. Jim Rossman.
100%.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Sarah.